Okay, if you've clicked on this video, you've seen the title. I can guarantee you after you watching this video, you will be 100%, maybe not 100%, but I can guarantee you'll be somewhat smarter before you was when you watch this video, because you're about to find out some things that you probably wouldn't believe. So, did you know that most of the oxygen in the world actually comes from the ocean and not trees? I mean, this one's kind of obvious because, I mean, 70% of the Earth's surface is water, I think. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, I mean, obviously a lot of people go on about how much we need trees for oxygen. Really and truly, we should be doing our best to save the ocean as well as the trees. Don't forget about the trees, but we should be doing so much more to save the ocean and preserve all the natural life that goes on inside the ocean, because a lot of the ocean still hasn't even been explored to this day. With all the advancements and technologies we have, there is still a lot of the ocean which hasn't actually still been explored. So we just need to do our best as human beings to save the ocean if we want to survive for as long as possible, because I can guarantee you the Earth is not going to be around for much longer at this current rate. So the best we can do is keep our trees safe, keep the ocean clean, and then we'll be able to breathe and live happy lives, and hopefully our children and our grandchildren and their grandchildren and their grandchildren can have at least a good, decent life to the extent that we've had, if not better. As you can imagine, hippos are very big creatures, which means when they shit, they shit a lot. Now, because of this, the amount of shit that goes in the water that they're in actually results in fishes dying, purely because the shit actually absorbs the oxygen that the fish need to, breathe. And yeah, the poor fishies die because the hippo can't take care of his business elsewhere. So I mean, part of us trying to save the oceans isn't really our fault. I just realized that hippos don't swim in oceans. Anyway, forget what I said. So the Academy Awards, which is my big film awards, which happens almost every year, I think. So I'm not really interested in all that award ceremony stuff and all that. But anyways, a lot of people do call it the Oscars instead of the Academy Awards, because obviously it's just a nickname. It just rolls off the tongue a lot easier, and it's more memorable knowing it as the Oscars. But why is it called the Oscars when the Oscars sounds nothing like the Academy Awards? It's not like the Grammys, which is shortened for gramophones, which obviously when you see the Grammy Awards, that little instrument or whatever it is that's in gold is a gramophone. So obviously the Grammys makes a lot of sense to call it that, but the Oscars has nothing to do with the Academy Awards. So why is it called the Oscars? And this is because one of the old-time Academy members, who goes by the name of Margaret Herrick, don't know who you are, but I'm sure you're a wonderful woman. She actually once said that the statue that is giving to obviously the winners of the award actually looks like Uncle Oscar. Now, I don't know who Uncle Oscar is, and I don't know if I should know who Uncle Oscar is, but whoever Uncle Oscar is, apparently he looks like the award. So that is now why the awards are called the Oscars, and it is stuck like that ever since to present day. So in 2018, Elizabeth Swanee took part in the Winter Olympics while being basically an amateur and labelled as the worst Winter Olympic skier of all time. So you're probably wondering, how does she even manage to get herself to take part in the Olympics? Because I mean, most people who take part in the Olympics are elite athletes. So how did an amateur manage to slip through the cracks and actually take part in these Olympics? Well, she basically finessed the system. The first point of achieving this and actually getting to the Olympics was the fact that she noticed that there were very minimal female half-pipe skiers, and how you actually gain qualification, or at least put your name in the running to be qualified for the Olympics for the half-pipe skiers, and you have to finish in at least the top 30 of half the Olympic recognized events, which obviously happened prior to the Olympics happening. She managed to finish in the top 30 of 13 of these events, and you're probably wondering, that means she must have been somewhat good to actually finish in the top 30 against all these other half-pipe skiers. Well, she competed in events where only less than 30 people were taking part, meaning she was guaranteed a top 30 position regardless of how well she did. Now, in 2018, when she did make it to the Winter Olympics, she did a run without making a single trick and only getting minimal airtime from the jumps that she actually managed to do. This wasn't exactly a publicity stunt, but with the way social media is, it basically turned into one, and all she was trying to do is just show people how easy it is if you actually pay attention, how you can exploit things like this. And I guess we may see more people ever try it, but actually try it and do well. But she basically just did this to raise awareness, and it's a pretty crazy thing, and you know what, props to her for even managing to pull this off. Now, I'm not sure if I have any avid sumo wrestler watchers on my channel, but if you are, you may notice that the referees hold what is called a Tate Gyoji or Tate Gyoji, which is the daggers that they have in their hand. On the face of it, you would see this as a weapon for the referees maybe to protect themselves, or for the referees to get involved if the fight does get out of hand. Now, these daggers are actually used as a symbolic figure more than an actual physical physical figure, and this is because the referees in sumo wrestling hold themselves to such a high standard that they ritualistically, which obviously doesn't mean literally, but in terms of they actually are willing to disembowel themselves if they make a call that is incorrect. Now, I'm not too sure if there are any cases of this happening in the past, maybe before records were dated and maybe before they could actually keep note of these things that are happening, but nowadays referees hold themselves to such a high standard. They still have the daggers there and visibly shown, but nowadays if they make a call and it is overruled, they usually resign literally that exact moment and they stop refereeing because obviously they see themselves as not good enough to do the job anymore. In 2006, there were stories of the Hackney Mole Man. Now, if you're not from London or familiar with the UK in general, Hackney is an area in East London. And 2006, there was a man who was found from digging holes underneath his house, basically almost trying to make like his own like tunnel connection system. I don't know what he was trying to do, but he was evicted because of course what he was doing was putting his whole neighborhood in danger, because as you can imagine, digging underneath the ground, underneath people's houses could easily mean that they could collapse, streets could collapse, the roads could collapse, anything could have happened from what he was trying to do. However, the best part of this is when he was obviously caught, convicted and evicted, he actually said that all he was trying to do was build a wine cellar. Now, I'm not too sure how much wine this man was trying to collect, but this would have been enough to basically feed almost the whole population of the United Kingdom if that's what he was trying to do. I say feed, you don't eat wine, you drink wine. You know what I was trying to say, okay? So some of you may be very familiar with the franchise Indiana Jones. So the film Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom was originally planned to start with Indy riding a motorcycle along the Great Wall of China and basically discovering some like hidden valley with dinosaurs and shit, but the idea was scrapped because the Chinese government didn't let them. Now apparently a lot of people are happy that this wasn't the intro. I think probably because it'd be somewhat disrespectful to the Chinese culture, and you know how a lot of people are nowadays, and I'm sure it was with the Chinese government best interest that they were not having one of the wonders of the world portrayed in such a way in this film. And yeah, that's about it. I mean, I can't say I am hurt or upset this wasn't the intro, and yeah, I guess we'll move on to the next one. So the country of Peru in South America actually has 90 different microclimates, including 30 of the 32 world climates, that doesn't make any sense to you because you didn't listen to geography. I guess they've worked out the world has 32 different climates with obviously different weathers, different humidities, different air pressure, like those different things which combine to make what the weather feels like outside, which is for example in England when it's hot and it's 20 degrees and it doesn't feel nice, but you can go to a different country and it's 20 degrees and it feels lovely. This is because the two countries have different climates, and obviously Peru has 90 different microclimates, which are just smaller, more breaking down version of those trees. So imagine like a pyramid, you've got the climates here, then you've got the microclimates, which obviously make up the climates at the top. Anyway, I'm waffling now, let me just get to the point. What I've just said makes Peru one of the most diverse countries in the world when it comes to climate. And I've also seen someone said that the ocean, desert, Andes Mountains, Amazon are all within a couple hundred miles of each other, which is ridiculous. And then someone added that Hollywood could save money by shooting their films in Peru. Burundi, Kenya, not gonna lie, I haven't got my glasses on, so I really can't see what I'm reading right now. Burundi, Kenya, Rwanda, South Sudan, Tanzania and Uganda are actually currently working towards merging all of the countries to become one country in Africa. And if this goes through, this country would be the 10th largest country in the world. This is all an attempt to obviously improve trade deals, the economy, you know, the banking system in Africa, and it could actually be a very great move for the countries and a very great move for the continent as a whole. And it's actually something that's been looked up upon more than it be looked down upon. Obviously the fact that you could be losing your countries and your heritage, but they would still say the same, but it would become under one, you know, United Nation, almost just like United Kingdom is. So going back to China again, in 2008, China hosted the Olympic Games. Now, if you didn't know, apparently the number 8 is a lucky number in China as well. So the Chinese government had the scheduled Beijing Olympic Games to begin 8 seconds after 8:08 on the 8th of the 8th, 2008. And if you didn't know, China smashed that Olympic. And yeah, if you actually have a look at the Olympic logo of how they placed the rings strategically, it just makes this a little bit more surreal that they actually made the rings look like number 8. But yeah, that's going to be the end of the video, guys. I hope you have enjoyed it to some degree. If you have, of course, please do hit the like down below. It means a massive lot to me. Of course, my socials are going to be going along the bottom of the video. So yeah, if you like this type of video, let me know. And apart from that, all my links will be in the description as well. This is your boy Jay, and I will see you next time. I never really know what hand to use, but yeah, peace.